Good evening, everybody. Welcome on a Thursday night for some Prime Meridian Racing League action. We weren't here last night, unfortunately, due to some other circumstances, but we are bringing you coverage here tonight right away going into this race. And first off, we'll look at the track as always. Looking at Michigan International Speedway, it is the 6th round of the season. We got 4 turns banked at 18 degrees, 55 miles per hour speed limit, 89 kilometers per hour, 2 mile track length, 3.32 kilometers, and no push to pass on the ovals. Then we'll quickly dive into the schedule for this season, of course tonight at Michigan. Then we have a week off until the 14th of September until Pocono and Road America for the final 2 races of the season. And then, yes, this is very much in a hurry. We got the point standings up as well. The teams up first. SMS Racing leads it by 55 over Indy Alliance Racing. Then we got Matziger behind as well in 3rd place. Then we got Taylor Mills Racing, Indy Alliance Racing 2, OCM Racing, Charity Racing by U-Race BR, Crescent IES, 89 Motorsports, and Team Talent round of the top 10 in the team's points. Let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship really quickly before we go green. Will Lyon leads it by 14 points over Jesper Urman. Then we got fellow Swede Sepp Alexander in the 3rd position, the 2 IR drivers right there. Sharing the top, the 2 IR drivers in the top 3 with Will Lyon for SMS, of course, up front. Then we got Dinsdale and Moyle running off the top 5 in the points. So we'll quickly cover the starting grid, and then I got some exciting news for you guys. So we'll quickly do that and get right into this race. So we got Will Lyon on the pole. Alongside him is Thomas Christensen, less than half a tenth of a second separating those 2 in qualifying. Then we got Klessens, Dinsdale on row 2, Naslund and Turner on row 3, Nara, Urman, Flaker, Moyle, Cabral, Garcia, Heredia, Schulfer, Robinson, Mills, Levine, Espada. Then we got some more cars on the grid, Ponche, Esteban, and we got Danny Brennan in 21st. But that is the surprise, we got Danny Brennan up in the booth here for today's race. Hello, Danny.
Hello, Julian. It's a pleasure to be along here. I'm very happy to be here to see some. It's an IndyCar Super Speedway racing. It's always going to be good.
For sure, it's going to be pack racing all around for 125 laps around this Michigan International Speedway. Pace car about to pull off with Will Lyon leading the field to green. He is in control of the pace, and there he goes. We are underway at Michigan. Everybody clean and green so far out of turn 2. Got some moves on the back straight. We've got Connie Naslund here in the middle for just a second there. Teammate Jesper Urman on the outside as Thomas Christensen now goes to the race lead, passing Will Lyon as he tucks back in the draft to try and lead lap number 1. Is he going to do so? No, he will not. It is Thomas Christensen who leads lap number 1.
Yeah, and expect to see a lot of lead swapping drivers. You'll actually find for the first part of this race will actually not really want to be leading because that hurts your fuel number. You'll see a lot of people slotting in. You'll see Christensen and Lyon for the minute probably swapping the lead, and drivers taking it a bit easy at least to start because these cars are very difficult to drive, especially in the dirty air if you're 3 or 4 cars back. So we'll see what happens, but expect Christensen and Lyon to be swapping the lead here tactically to help each other, which is strange. But not if you're not if you've watched it not if you've watched IndyCar racing before, but if you're used to F1 or something, it's
exactly.
It's a bit of an interesting one.
Yes, sorry for interrupting you there. The mic quality is a little bit strange sometimes, but yeah, what Danny was talking about, the swap drafting, is basically cutting the air of the car behind you, and that allows you to gain more speed if you're following, which therefore means more speed and faster lap time. So that's what they're going to try to do. But Christensen's still leading from Lyon and Turner, and like you said, everybody at the moment slotting in, saving fuel, as we are already on lap number 4.
Another thing to keep an eye on, is Turner going to the front here. He's making a big move. I was just about to say, you'll probably see some drivers who will not want to stick around in the back. They'll want to try and get to the front if they can. If the leaders are taking it easy to try and save fuel, you can make good positions up if you're not willing to play that game. As it looks like they're 3 wide just about, and they'll slot back in, exiting turn 4.
We're not really seeing any swap drafting right now in turn 3 and 4. They're all going for it. But Michigan,
yeah, pretty aggressive to start out. Absolutely, yeah. Looks like the track's pretty drivable at the minute. People can move around the different lanes. People have plenty of grip, especially at the front. We're seeing people move around as Christensen now diving to the inside, and looks like he'll take the lead from Matthew Turner.
I gotta say, I'm actually quite surprised that Christensen and I think it's Nassund, yes it is right behind in the dirty air of him, that they're both able to drive the low line this well. Because if you don't know, Michigan actually does have progressive banking. It isn't listed on the track information page on iRacing, but the lowest, or the first lane, I guess, from the yellow line up to the top, it is lower banked than the second lane up to the top. So where you're basically seeing everybody drive except Will Line there in the middle, or the bottom, sorry. Will is driving on less banking than everybody else, and of course if you are a little bit into physics and stuff, less banking is more wear on the tires as the run goes on. So that's something to keep an eye on as the run goes on, as Christensen and Turner now for Indy Alliance Racing leading them, and Nassund also up into third.
Yeah, no, I think we'll see the bottom line go away as the tires start to wear too. It's going to become a lot more difficult to hold down there. Less banking also means less grip. So when the tires heat up properly, whenever they start getting wearing, you're going to see a lot more vibrations than the lines. Christiansen now diving for the lead again, so
Danny, I'm going to interrupt you very quickly right now. We are getting some very interesting audio sounds from your microphone. It's not very pleasant to listen to right now. So hopefully that resorts itself, of course, Danny using mobile data to call with us for this broadcast. So hopefully that data sorts itself out. This is the time of day, where his data is not really the fastest right now. So yeah, like I said, hopefully that sorts itself out. But we've got some moving for positions in the back of the field. We've got Sam Moyle dropping back, or is it Netcode? I think that is. Just blinking out for a little bit. As we're seeing some nice moves through the pack here. Taylor Mills on the back of, I believe that is Cesar Gabriel. Yes, it is. And Taylor is up 7 spots from the green flag. So on the move is the 41 of Taylor Mills Racing. The team boss, Matthew Turner, second biggest mover in the field. He is up in the lead right now, but not for much longer as Christensen pulls by on the inside.
And we'll see if my internet allows me to speak for more than 5 seconds.
It works now.
Yeah, good stuff. As Turner now diving to the inside again. So, as I was saying before lag cut me off, Turner made a pretty aggressive move whenever everyone at the start of the race taking it pretty cautious. He pressed forward, getting ahead of Christensen and Lyon, who are on the front rows. Oh, Klassen's in the pits.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to him exactly. I'm not seeing anything on the session events, so I assume that he had some kind of loose issue somewhere and he might have slid into the pits. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but we'll have to wait and see if he says something in chat. Of course, we are not broadcasting this live. This is the race from yesterday, which we couldn't broadcast live for some very unfortunate circumstances, let's just say. With
we'll say logistical reasons.
Yes, logistical reasons. That's
that
what
sounds very professional.
Yes, very professional. But Sam Moyle continuing to blink out of the session here, so hopefully that won't affect the drivers around him too much.
Yeah, and looking like the field's actually pretty tightly packed at the minute. We're kind of everyone down to Garcia in 13th. Within about 2.5 seconds, they'll all be having the drafts. So everyone's sticking pretty close so far.
Yeah, and one driver I'm noticing who is for sure saving fuel early on in the race is Daniel Dinsdale. He is purposely not closing in too much on the IR cars up ahead, but he's also not falling too far back to Jesper Urman. So he's just staying right in that draft, not really going anywhere, but just chucking it in map 5. And of course, right as I say that, you'll see him go to the high side there, trying to make a move on Nassund right there. But Dinsdale definitely one of the drivers that is trying to save some fuel, and it wouldn't surprise me if Will Lyon is playing the long game as well, sitting in third right now. He is up in the first pack of cars, but not really trying to go for the front, at least at the moment.
Yeah, and what you'll see with the drivers who can save fuel, either they're saving it so whenever they pit, they'll have a shorter pit stop, less fuel to put in, or they can maybe run it a little bit longer and try and get a bit of an overcut on people who have to come in early for fuel.
Fuel window on 100% fuel tank should be about 36 laps, which you can stretch to 37, 38 if you really do save a lot of fuel. So that's something to keep an eye on. Of course, 125 laps. I do not have the math with me right now, but maybe you can work that out, Danny, for me, as the drivers will try to make this on as few stops as possible.
I'll get the abacus out. Give me a sec.
Perfect. See, this is why it's always so nice to have a co-commentator in this. We should do this more often.
Yeah, we really should. This is sweet. Isn't it lovely?
It is. We still got some moves in the back of the field. Well, I say the back of the field, the midfield really, from 6th on back. We got Naslin and Urman battling for P5, as Dinsdale now moving up a spot as well. As Cabra now looks to the inside too, so Urman now dropping back. Of course, Urman is in that championship fight with Will Lyon. Urman, one of the better drivers on the ovals. And of course, Will Lyon, one of the better drivers in this league, at least on the road and street courses. Of course, in general, Will very talented, and so is Jesper Urman. But in this league, those two definitely the main championship rivals, as those two are very close in points.
Yeah, and I would expect Jesper to be making a move to the front sooner rather than later. He qualified, I think, down in 9th place, so a bit off the pace, but he's a genius on these ovals. Having raced a bit in the PMRL against Jesper, I remember a race at Indianapolis where I was stuck, I think, in 7th or 8th in the dirty air. And Jesper just flew by me like it was nothing. Like, he is what I would say the wild card to look out for. Championship contender, he's the guy to beat in these ovals.
Definitely, and of course Jesper also has a great team behind him, Indy Alliance Racing. Definitely one of the more experienced and competitive and more talented teams in the community overall. Of course, we've got Powerside Motorsports as well, which we do not have any entries of in the field right now, but we do have some occasional entries from like Henry Bennett and some other drivers from Powerside, so hopefully we'll see them return sometime soon, as Caber almost hits the wall there with Mills just about avoiding that. To avoid a wreck there, as I think Mills is trying to side draft there on Caber. I'm not sure how that works in an open wheel car, but Mills either way pulls by into P8. Let's take a quick look at the speeds the drivers are running. Going 360 kilometers per hour into turn 1 is Daniel Dinsdale. And of course that drops right down to 330. Of course he is saving fuel like we already mentioned. Wouldn't surprise me if many more drivers are doing the same. One driver who I'm not so sure about is doing that is Tobias Nara. He started in P7. He is now up into the top 3. Making some moves. Matthew Turner also up 4 spots, by the way. Up into 2nd and 3rd. And those two definitely moving forward, as Christensen once again swapping the lead with Turner, as Turner goes to the lead on the inside of turn 1.
And part of what makes this work for Christensen and Turner, they'll have pretty similar fuel numbers to the likes of Will Lyon and 3rd doing this. But once one of them decides to stop playing the game, that's when really you'll start to see things heat up.
Oh, for sure, but I don't think we're going to see that too early in this race. It will probably be after the halfway point. But something we shouldn't forget as well, by the way, Will Lyon is an Indy Alliance Racing driver in the IndyCar Open Series, so it wouldn't surprise me one single bit if those drivers are all working together in some sort of another, trying to make the best fuel numbers they can, running in the top 3. Of course, Tobias Nara is not an Indy Alliance Racing driver. Then we got Colin Naslund and Jesper Urman there. They are all Indy Alliance Racing drivers. Then we got Dinsdale, who is also a teammate of Will's directly in the PMRL. And then really from there it kind of stops, because we got Levine in 10th right now, and thought we had Levine racing as well. Oh yeah, there he is in 10th. I just talked about him, never mind.
Nice. Also, I've got the calculator out, so if you want to do this race in 2 stops, all green flag, you'll need 42 lap stints. So that's going to be pretty tough.
Definitely. So you'll definitely need a yellow or 2 to really make that fuel strategy work. Of course, if it falls at the right time for you, you can go a little bit longer if it's in the middle of the stint. For example, right now you can save a few laps, of course. Basically, if you run 1 lap under caution, 3 laps under caution, that saves you 1 lap of fuel in the race. So that's quite a bit of fuel that you can save under caution. And I'm sure the drivers that are trying to make this strategy work are hoping for a few cautions here and there to really help on the fuel numbers.
Yeah, if we see a yellow, I would expect the entire field probably to jump in, because you'll be averaging about 30. Oh, was we a spin in the back?
Yes, that is Taylor Mills out of turn 2 and hits
the inside and then the wall.
Yes. So the car definitely got loose there. Let's rewind it manually here, because I do not have the option to...
I think Mills is on the bottom. Yep.
Yep. Like I was saying, the inside line, it is possible to run there. We saw some Indy Alliance Racing drivers do that, but the inside line is much less banked than the second groove up to the top. And actually, there is contact between, I believe that is Daniel Dinsdale. Yes, it is. So contact between those two resulting in a spin to the inside wall for Taylor Mills.
Yeah, looks like Taylor just kind
Oh,
of climbed up a little bit on the racing line there.
and this is the
I don't think
this is the perfect example of a replay file that we are not used to broadcasting. I apologize for this. I'll go back to lap 20 where we were, 24, sorry.
No worries. Well, I'll just keep explaining. I think it looked to me like Mills just kind of drifted up a bit, maybe got a little bit tight. Running the bottom line now more than halfway through the stint, that's going to be pretty difficult to maintain, even if you're in clean air. So I would presume that she just got a bit tight and just maybe misjudged it a bit there with Daniel Dinsdale.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, that did bring out the caution, which we will see in just a second as we rewind back to lap number 24 where we were. As we do have the screen back with us here, so I'll quickly get it back up on the air as well. There we go.
Yeah, and we'll see what kind of damage Mills has as well. We'll see if it's just the front wing or if there's other things to note.
Yeah, so there was the contact between those two as not the Indy Alliance racing drivers, the SMS drivers continue on the way. But like I said, caution was out for that contact between those two drivers.
And we'll see now, maybe we'll see if anybody wants to risk it and stay out during this caution. Maybe try and get some track position, but I wouldn't really see much of a point this late in the field run.
Yeah, of course, we are on lap number 25 right now, and I'm not sure what's happening with the timing and scoring on the stream. This is all SDK Gaming's part of the software, so not much I can really do right now except for hoping it updates at the start-finish line the next time by, but I suppose reloading the overlay would also work, so let's try that for a second, and if that doesn't work, we'll have to figure out something else. But
we'll wait and see. Maybe when it's green it won't show checkers.
Very good one, actually, yes. So it is Thomas Christensen out in the lead with Matthew Turner having some issues here as well. Or he's waiting for the pace car, so Turner going by the pace car a little bit too quickly, as there it is, it passes by again. So was Christensen out in the lead, I am pretty sure, or is that Christensen that is in second? It is Turner out in the lead. Okay, cool. So everybody coming down into the pits, like you said, and they're going to take fuel and tires to go as long as possible once again.
Yeah, we'll just watch and see if anyone overshoots their pit box or doesn't quite get in right. It's more difficult than you think sometimes in these IndyCars when you're just used to the turning left and going fast, and you have to slow down below 60 and hit your marks for the pit box.
Definitely. It's very
looks like everyone's clear at the minute, though.
Yes, I was going to say it's very difficult to slow the car down to on the flat surface. Of course, you're driving on a banked race course. So when you get onto the apron or onto the pit lane itself, the car handles completely differently because the car naturally, with the way the cars are set up, it wants to turn left. So under braking, it's so tricky to get it slowed down without losing the rear or locking the front and speeding into the pits. So luckily there's yellow for these drivers helping out with that. It's one less risk under green flag conditions for those drivers.
Absolutely. Looks like Mills might have a bit more damage than just the front wing. So we'll see if she loses any laps or can get it going before the pace car comes around.
Just trying to figure out what's going on with the timing and scoring right now, because it is very confusing at the moment. Did reload the overlay, so hopefully that works.
Oh, we have white cars now. Very nice.
Yes. Trying to figure out... Oh, there's the voice crack. We just talked about this pre-race.
That's your voice crack of the week, yes. People.
I've got to say, it's very frustrating that the overlays aren't working as they should do right now.
Yeah, I would presume once we're back green, hopefully it should be. And if not, we'll just use our fingers to count laps. It's fine. I have a massive notepad.
I got something else that I could try to do in the hope of bringing it back. So give me just a second. I'll once again put up the thumbnail. I apologize, guys. Trying to do my best here. Once again, we are broadcasting a race replay file, so we are not racing live right now. That is due to some logistical issues, as we just mentioned. So that's the cause of that.
So what you're saying is it's iRacing's fault. That's correct.
For sure, it's iRacing's fault. It's always iRacing's fault. Alright, well, I couldn't do much about the overlay issues, but we are back to green here on lap number 25, starting lap number 26, with Thomas Christensen out in the lead, and the gaps will sort itself out. At least the gaps are correct between the drivers, so that's something that we do have. And of course,
yeah,
the
exactly.
positions too. So, of course, at the top it says unofficial results. This is not the actual race result.
Yeah, it's fine. Again, look, we've got big notepads. We've got our fingers. We can count these laps. It's fine. As they're all slotting in single file, so nobody tried to make any massive moves, as I said. Will Lyon, like he was going to the outside there.
That definitely closes up a lot, but of course the draft here is pretty significant too. Of course, you do have the tiny little speedway wings, but the draft is pretty big with these cars, the huge hole in the air that is being punched by the leading car. And there we got Christensen going to the inside now, trying to retake the race lead on the inside of turn 3 and now into 4. It slides up, and Turner on the high side there, just letting his teammate go there. So definitely working together, those Indy Alliance racing cars.
Yeah, and that's going to be key. And it's going to be key for Will Lyon to try and get Daniel Dinsdale and Matt Levine up with him to try and help, because AR will be able to maintain and control the pace of this race if no one else can help out Will Lyon, I think. Especially Jesper Orman looked to be making moves up to 6th, as Christensen again diving to the bottom takes the lead. Another lead swap with Turner now and Christensen, both swapping, and actually Christensen getting such a good run to be side by side with Turner. I'm sure Turner will let him have that one into 3. And interesting to note, Will Lyon staying in 3rd, waiting for some help. We'll see if he gets it.
And his teammate Daniel Dinsdale was in 8th right now, so they're not really racing together right now. We do see Dinsdale trying to make some moves happen right now as he works on Cesar Cabral for 7th. On the inside, actually racing teammate Matthew Levine as well. So those two cars trying to go to the front as Dinsdale clips the apron. Oh, he connects the car.
Oof.
Great save there.
Yeah, that is a lot more difficult to do than it looks. Down in the bottom at Michigan, that is it's pretty scary.
I bet then Dinsdale needs a new pair of underwear from that save as well. Almost got collected by the entire pack following him, so thankfully...
This will be a good view as well of the dirty air from on board with Dinsdale. We might see just how much they're having to lift off, not only to save fuel, but also just to keep these cars planted in the corners.
Definitely a big lift right there.
So it's down to the middle of the license 6. That's pretty decent so far, honestly. Not as bad as you see at other IndyCar tracks for sure, but of course fresh tyres at the minute, just off a pit stop. That will get progressively worse throughout the stint.
Yeah, and of course you saw Dinsdale actively looking for that clean air too. You can see the clean air between, I believe that's Naslu in the front, and then we got Ehrman up as well.
As they're 3 wide ahead here.
Yep, a little bit of a check-up by Cabral there too, which meant that Dinsdale had to check up as well, and he loses some momentum, gonna lose a position to...
Oh, and down the inside now as well. Is that Sam Moyle? No, it isn't. It's Flacker.
Yes, Flaker.
Fleeker, forgive me.
I believe it's Flaker or Flacker, Flacquois, I don't know. It's not Spanish,
wow.
It's French. I believe that's a lapped car of Taylor Mills on the inside there. 8 laps down, pulls back into the pits, so probably too much damage to continue driving around.
We're staying again. No one able to break the stranglehold of Christensen and Turner at the minute. Looks pretty solid, and we're seeing all this battling behind from kind of 5th on back, and no one's able to make progress. As I say that, looking for the Nara pulling to the inside along with Christensen, trying to get some of that draft.
It was pretty funny seeing them all go single file down the back straight and then going 2 by 2 by 2 going into turn 3. That was pretty funny. As,
yeah.
We once again got some lead swapping up at the front. We got Ehrman also racing with Cesar Gabriel for P6.
Yeah, and he's made some pretty decent progress too. He seems one of the bigger movers early on here as the sense of rest.
Yes, up 4 spots, and so is Matthew Turner, by the way. And the biggest mover in the race right now is up into 9th position. Matthew Levine started 17th, up into 9th, like I mentioned, for SMS Racing, trying to follow his teammate Daniel Dinsdale to the front to try and help Will Lyon secure some extra points in that Drivers' Championship. Of course, very crucial that Will Lyon nails the oval rounds just as much as it is for Jesper Urman to make the most of the road courses. But Will currently in 3rd position, working on Cesar Gabriel. I believe that is. Is he a lap down?
No, I think it is. There might have just been a big change of position there coming at the start of this lap. The tower will update, I think, once we get to the line, but looks like there's been some chopping and changing. We'll see if Will Lyon perhaps maybe made a mistake, or maybe he's just trying to drop further into the pack to be closer to his SMF teammates, see if they can make a collective move up to the front.
All right,
of course, there's not much... Oh, sorry.
I do believe the timing tower has glitched out, so it's gone really bad on us here. So we're going to have to do this, as NBC famously calls it for the NASCAR races, and yes, I hate it too, but we're going to have to do it radio style.
Well, you're taking 1 and 2, I'm taking 3 and 4. Let's go.
Alright, so Christensen and Turner going side by side into turn 1.
That's a big dive down to the inside by Cabral too. He's looking to make a move for the lead, I think.
Yes, definitely going for it. Looking for that clean air on the low line. Again, lower banking than the rest of the track, as Urman now looking to get a position as... sorry, that's Naslund. All Indy Alliance racing cars look very much alike. So Naslund to the inside of Gabriel. We've got Will Lyon just behind as well, up into the 5th position on track.
So 3 wide, the 2 SMS cars, 1 bottom, 1 top.
Oh, we're going 3 wide here with Jesper Urman. This is going to be so tricky. Jesper does not need to get him into a situation like this where he's racing teammates of Will Lyon in such close proximity, and especially not in a 3 wide situation with, I believe that's Flaker right behind as well there, like trying to make the most of this battle for position. Gets by Levine, I believe that is. Yes, it is, in the 69.
Just about. Yeah, if you're Jasper, you're wanting to get out of the situation as quickly as possible. You're looking for a way forward. And it's good to see that there's the multiple lanes are still working. There's still people working the bottom lane as well. And it seems to be not as bad, perhaps, as especially on the new tires. It doesn't seem to be that bad, all things considered.
Definitely. But it's all about looking for that clean air as well. Of course, if you're at the front, it's very easy to run really anywhere. Of course, you don't want to run up top in the clean air because it's going to be naturally slower. Of course, the shortest distance is always going to be the faster one, or the faster line. But if you're in traffic and you got dirty air, you really do need to look for that clean air to try and get the run off the corner, like Jesper Urman almost did on Will Lyon. And the 17 of Nara got a big run on the 2 as well, down the back straight into turn 3, sorry. On the high side again, looking for that clean air like I just mentioned, and he should get a pretty solid run out of turn 4 as he closes up to the 2 cars up ahead.
We could see championship contenders side by side, but Nara might stop that. Maybe go to the inside of Orman here. No, he thinks better, but Orman now and Will Lyon together. That's important. The points battle, something to keep in mind. They are pretty close in the standings. They're also pretty far ahead of the rest of the pack. It will be Lyon against Orman. So they're the 2 to keep an eye on for the championship, but up front, I think Cesar Cabral comes to the championship. He wants that race lead.
Of course, quickly going back to the championship, by the way. After this race at Michigan, we only have 2 more races to go. 1 oval at Pocono, the final Triple Crown race of the season. By the way, this is the second one of those. And then we got Road America, the final road course of the season. So I guess you could say equal fighting ground for Jesper Urman and Will Lyon to fight it out for the title. Of course, Will Lyon, going into this race, has the upper hand. We'll quickly bring up the point standings again whilst these drivers continue to go at it. So, of course, Will Lyon leads it by 14 over Jesper. Going into Michigan. And then we've got Seb right there as well. Well, I say right there, he's in 3rd. And we've got Dinsdale and Moore right behind him. So the battle for 3rd in the championship also heating up very much. And then we've got Gabriel, Flaker, Naslund, Levine, and Ike, of course, running off the top 10 in the points. As we go back live here into the action.
It looks like Christiansen, for the minute, moving back into third. We'll see if he stays there, try and save some fuel. He's been pretty aggressive so far. He's definitely one to lead a lot of laps. And there he goes around the outside again. Cabral running that inside a lot. And even though you can do it, I don't know if you want to be doing it so consistently. He's going to end up burning up his tires pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was just going to say exactly that. I think he's slowly but surely burning up his tires, and you're really seeing the effects of that as Christensen gives him some nice dirty air there on the second lane of the track. As Turner loses that spot to Gabriel right now, but he should be able to get it back to the inside here with the draft as we go into turn 3.
And that's the advantage of having teammates, especially late in this race. You can tactically decide where you want your teammate to go. And that's going to be big for the championship contenders. If Jesper Orman or Will land in a position to win, and they have their teammates along with them, you can really play some tactics here to tactically block some lanes and, clog up the track a bit.
I can speak from experience that is very annoying when you're in a championship fight and you got teammates of your main rival doing that. But of course, that's perfectly within the rules. If it's for track position, it's perfectly legal. So of course, if you got the numbers to do it, then you should do it. As we continue to see some great racing here at Michigan today, or yesterday, I should say. Wink, wink.
Today. Time is a fake concept. It's fine. It's whatever you want it to be. That's a bit too philosophical for iRacing and IndyCar, I think. That's beside the point. What I will say, though, in terms of if you have teammates working together as well, I do remember having raced a bit in the PMRL myself, there was a point where I've been able to get to the front. I think it was a race at Indy. Either Indy or Michigan, I don't know. Or it may not have been the PMRL either. My memory is awful. But essentially, there was a team behind me, 4 or 5 cars, and I was wanting to drop in behind. I was wanting someone to overtake me, and those 4 team cars stopped me from being able to save enough fuel. So that's crucial. So if you're able to really put somebody on an island as well, have team cars surrounding them, it's very difficult to be able to do what you want to do. If you need to save fuel, if you need to move forward.
Exactly, but if you are a team playing those tactics, of course, giving them dirty air to burn up the tires is also something that you could try and do. It won't be as effective doing that here at Michigan because you're going flat out all the way around basically, except of course if you're in a huge pack like the cars behind here are. For example, Matthew Levine up here in 9th, but of course the tires definitely, at the start of the stint it definitely helps you on the low line, but overall it doesn't really affect you too much.
Yeah, and I'd say as the stint goes on, we might see a few more mistakes slip in, and you might see a few hairy moments whenever especially through 1 and 2. If you're forced on that bottom line, you're going to see drivers giving it a bit of opposite lock. It gets pretty slick.
Just like we saw with Dinsdale a few moments ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everybody further in the back of the pack, just running single file. Not sure if they are saving fuel or just not really going for anything right now. Of course, we still got a long way to go. We're not even halfway yet into this one, so still plenty of time to make your moves, get to the front. But of course, you don't want to lose the draft of the cars in front because that will really be costly at Michigan.
Yeah, and you have to kind of think of this like a NASCAR superspeedway race in effect. You can sit back like this. If you have a drafting partner, you can sit back and say if there's a massive wreck up front, you can really benefit. But you have to be careful playing that game also, if that's what you're doing.
So, whilst we are currently on the green, we did not get the chance to really talk about the sponsor yet. So we'll do that very quickly, and we will go back into the action right away. So Voppzy iRacing Paints is Voppzy Vilda's iRacing Paints Instagram page, and she does these great liveries for all the teams and the drivers, of course, for some racing in the PMRL as well. So, of course, you can check it out at Voppzy lowercase iRacing on Instagram, as we are currently on lap number 51 here at Michigan, the second Triple Crown race of the season. So we got Flaker here.
Pretty nice battle.
Yes, racing Xavier Heredia, I do believe that is. This is a battle for P13 at the moment. As we will go back towards the front. and back towards the leaders, as like we've been mentioning all race long so far, the 52 laps that have just gone by. The Indy Alliance drivers of Christensen and Turner swapping the lead every lap at every end of the racetrack, virtually, it seems. And we've got Gabriel currently sitting in third, so he's doing a great job again. He is currently the biggest mover in the race, as he is up into third now, started in 11th. So up 8 spots from the start of the race, as we've got Naslund and Ehrman still.
Yeah, and we'll really see. I'm not sure if the Turner Christensen alliance up front was, especially when you get to this final stint, which come up, yeah, it's a bit far away still. But once you get, especially to the last half of the race, the last stint, you're going to see people really show their colours and show their pace.
Still got 70 laps to go though, so a long way to go, as Ehrman almost hit his teammate there out of turn 4. That was very close.
It looks like they're 3 wide again. Behind looks like it's Dinsdale and Levine once again going 3 wide with somebody.
Yes, it's the 2 SMS drivers, and this time it is Flaker there that's being the victim. Of course, we saw Ehrman in the mix there not too long ago as well. He almost got collected in an incident there, as they went into turn 1 there a few laps ago, very close together. But of course, all those drivers still running, as Pablo Chauffeur has blinked out of the session. Hopefully for him he can rejoin and get back into the race, as Heredia still continues to battle with... who's that? That's Manuel Gomez Esteban. Running in the back of the pack still.
Yeah, it looks like they're some of the drivers that might just have lost the draft. So if this race stays green, they'll be in trouble in terms of going laps down.
So whilst we watch this battle for the lead, I do believe I have a little light bulb on the top of my head. I think I have an idea to get the timing and scoring working again. So we'll start to figure that out in just a moment. We'll quickly watch this battle for the lead first, and then we'll work on that. So Christensen still in the lead. We got Caber now up into second. Turner dropping back a little bit from teammates, as just as I say that, he goes back to the outside here, trying to work back on second place. But I'm quickly going to do something in the hope that we can get everything back to as it should work. Excuse me. There we go. So that's...
You know what?
I do think it worked. All right, we got
the mad lad did it.
All right. Perfect. I'm so awesome. I know I'm awesome. All right.
You are, Julian.
So here we go, lap number 56. We are right back into the action here with live timing and scoring back into it. I apologize that it took so long. It took me a while to figure it out, but of course, again, for the 4th time or so, we couldn't broadcast yesterday due to logistical reasons. So we're doing this from a replay file, which we've been sent by Jessica, the league admin. And of course, when you fast forward, the timing and scoring kind of messes up. So you have to go back all the way and then kind of restart everything. So that's what we did. And we are back here in the thick of the action, as Gabriel slots back into third now. He loses that spot to Turner again, as we got the Indy Alliance Racing Group. I guess unofficially with Dual Line involved there too, racing Jesper Ehrman. And it's pretty interesting too, of course, we've already mentioned countless times that they are unofficial teammates. Ehrman and Will basically racing for the same team everywhere else except PMRL. They're racing against them for the championship this time around. So it's really interesting to see how they work together, if at all. Of course, we saw in the beginning of the race all the drivers from Indy Alliance Racing, then SMS as well, not really going anywhere, not racing each other too much, just saving fuel, saving the track position, or protecting track position, I should say. And so far that's worked pretty decently for them today. Of course, the upset in that is Cesar Caber right now, as he almost hits Christensen out of turn 2. But they are still right there in the battle for the race lead.
Yeah, and I'll say that well, there might be an informal agreement between Jesper and Will at the minute. Once we get down to it, last 20, 30 laps, we're not going to see them helping each other one bit. There's a championship on the line. They're the 2 championship contenders. It's going to be spicy. That's my bet. We want drama here. We need views.
Exactly, but in my opinion, we should just let Jesper Ehrman win it, because Will won so many titles in a row, you know.
Of course, yeah.
I'm just joking, of course. But of course, it's always nice to have a good championship fight. Of course, the last few seasons, the championship has gone to Will quite convincingly. So it's really the first season, I believe, since season 1, where we've had a really close championship fight, going pretty much all the way to the end. Of course, like I said, still 2 more races to go after this one. We got next Wednesday off. So we will be racing again in 13 days from now at the Pocono Raceway. Of course, we don't race there anymore in real life, as we have an incident there between Will Lyon.
Did he save it? He saved it!
Yes, he saved it. What a save by Will Lyon.
What a save, Will Lyon.
And I believe there was contact between Jesper Ehrman there. And we'll have to go back and see what happened there.
I think that makes my prediction correct, Julian. It was not going to last too long. We'll see what happened.
Yeah, so going into turn 1 here, Jesper going to the high side, Will going low. And he gets on that first groove of the track. The car pushes up right here. Jesper on the outside line. Will just washes up the track and clips the rear end of Jesper Ehrman. So
what
no
a
fault
save
of Jesper, but what a save indeed by Will Lyon, sorry. As we got one of his teammates there pulling to the inside of the track. Not sure why he's doing that. That is Daniel Dinsdale pulling to the inside. Does he have damage? I do believe the steering wheel is a little bent, it seems. So I think he hit the wall trying to avoid all of that. And yes, the steering wheel definitely not pointing straight anymore. So Dinsdale hit the wall. And I assume he's going to take some repairs. And he will be down multiple laps as the field crosses the start-finish line.
And while that is obviously not helpful for Dinsdale, if he can get out and be competitive, he can, as a lap car, there, especially in Nova Racing and IndyCar racing, there are no real saying you have to get out of the way of the leaders, so Dinsdale could still play a factor in this race if he can get the car going again. But yeah, Will Lyon, that is a championship-saving save. That's the kind of thing you could easily end up in the wall and most likely looking at the standings P18. And we know Jesper as well, with all his teammates up front here, especially with Will Lyon out, he'd find a way forward.
The amazing thing about this too is he's only lost 4 or 5 spots in that, so he didn't really lose all too much as we got the leaders coming into the pits. Lap 62, just shy of halfway by about a lap or 2. But we got Christensen and Turner in on lap 63.
Turner locking up a bit as well. We'll see if he made pit speed or not.
Well, hopefully for them he didn't. It's been a good day so far for Indy Alliance Racing. It will be a real big shame if they messed it up by speeding in the pits or getting any sort of penalty for that matter, as they stop in the box for fresh tires and fuel.
And we'll see as well what the offset's like. We've seen Turner and Christensen running up front, not saving as much fuel. We'll see now where the drivers kind of 4th, 5th on back, how much further they can go.
Yes, and will they lose a lap? Yes, they will. Right as I asked that, they do lose a lap to Jesper Ehrman and Conny Naslund. So we've had 2 Indy Alliance Racing drivers out in the lead who pitted, and they've been replaced by 2 other Indy Alliance Racing drivers to lead the field right now, as Nara up again into the 3rd position, and Matthew Levine up in the 5th, up 12 spots.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned much. Nara's had a pretty decent race, been kind of in and around the top 5 the entire time, as Naslund normal swap the lead. Yeah, Nara maybe can play a factor later on here.
And Tobias is one of the newer drivers to the PMRL. I've not really seen him around too much in the IndyCar community in general, so I'm just going to assume based on that, my own knowledge, that he's pretty new to the car, so doing a great job right now, improving as the season goes on. Of course, at the season it hasn't always been the easiest for him. He's had a few pretty rough finishes, but at the moment, it just has to say that he clips the wall.
The commentator's curse.
Yeah,
sorry, Tobias.
That was a commentator's curse indeed. So you slapped the wall there. But the interesting thing here with iRacing is, of course, sometimes you have this connection issue, which you know all too much about.
Yeah.
Where the car hits the wall, but iRacing doesn't actually register it. So if Tobias is lucky, he doesn't have any damage from that, as he almost loses the car. Oh, this is close.
Yeah, I don't think he's gotten away with it, unfortunately. Oh, that's a real shame.
Very loose at the moment, running low. I assume he's going to come down, as he is massively off the pace right now. So for sure coming down to pit road. As he slows it down.
Yeah, gets it in. Well done. With the car that loose on a straight, it's pretty difficult to pit in coming down off the apron. So well done.
Exactly, yeah. So we got Jesper Ehrman out in the lead. We got a lapped car up in front. Difficult to tell who that is here from this angle.
That's going to help Jesper as well. You know, Jesper and Connie Naslund have kind of pulled away. They made a separation between Flacker, Levine, and Lyon, who are also staying out in the same fuel strategy. So as long as the lapper plays nice as Naslund now pits, so Orman maybe getting an extra bit of fuel mileage as well in this.
Yes, and of course Ponche being up in front as well does help Jesper, because the draft, of course, of the car ahead, like I mentioned already in the beginning of this race, it cuts a bigger hole in the air, which means that you can actually travel at a higher speed without using as much fuel. So Jesper making full use of that right now, as he is able to go a lot longer than everybody else, including some of his teammates.
Also, not surprising to see Jesper and Will Lyon, the first two drivers who've been able to extend the fuel stint, you know?
Yes,
as we say that, in come the two SMS Racing drivers.
Levine in as well, like you said. Naslund is back out again. He pitted a lap ago, of course. So Jesper going one more lap. So he is looking to pit on lap 69. Nice.
See, even though Jesper now going longer, this could actually end up hurting him, because the likes of Christensen and Turner will have some form of... They're able to draft with each other, and Jesper's all on his own, so I would expect him to see him pull again, and he does.
Very good point, but we do have... oh wait, never mind, I was going to say we have 35 laps to go, but we have 55 laps to go. But if you do split that, it's about 27, 28 laps, so you could pit a little bit earlier, or of course pit at the same time and take less fuel. That's something that you could also do and gain track position that way. Of course, under caution, when the drivers are running together, you gain a lot of positions when you have to take less fuel. So that is something that Jesper could be looking into when he's out in the lead, trying to make those fuel numbers. But we'll have to wait and see how this race shakes out. As so far, we've had just one single caution for Taylor Mills, and that was it. So clean and green so far today, apart from that single caution.
Yeah, we'll see how last all got fresh sticker tires, as Christensen's going to have a hell of a lead here. And we'll see where Jesper forms out. He won't. I don't think he'll be second. Turner's going to get round him around the outside. We'll see where Cesar Cabral is in relation as well. We'll see where Jesper Orman forms in. And it looks like it's P3. So he's actually at a neck gain, though.
Yeah, he's pretty lucky as well that he's racing with teammates, of course. He's got the draft now of Turner up ahead. He's a teammate. Christensen up ahead in the lead is also a teammate. So it's in the alliance in the top three. And of course, Will with the best fuel and tires of this bunch of cars, of course, will try to make his way to the front as soon as possible. And of course, Turner and Christensen will now try to play backup for the likes of Gabriel, Nara and Lyon behind, to really protect those positions and of course those precious points in the championship as well.
And things are really forming up here for IAR. I think it's 4 cars in the top 5 with Connie Naslund as well. They can really protect Jesper Orman here, you know. And especially, look, if you look at the gap between Cabral in 4th and you're out to Naslund in 5th, that, to me, would have broken the draft. So we may see 2 packs forming here. So that's massive for Jesper Orman if that's the case.
Of course, the more cars that are in between Jesper and Will, the better it's going to be for Jesper. Of course, he's got a 14-point deficit right now to Will, who is leading the championship going into this race. So as many points as he can make up on these ovals, he will gladly take those, as Will Lyon, just as we say that, moves up a spot, gets by Tobias Nara in turn 4, as he moves up to P6.
Looks like whatever was wrong with Nara's car seems to be sorted, hopefully.
Well, just as you say that, he loses quite a chunk of time to Will. We got a caution out on the track.
Oh, yellow's out. We'll see what it's for.
Difficult to tell.
See, looks like Esteban Espada is slow on the track. We'll see what happened here.
Let's rewind for a little bit, see if we can find out what happened. And it might have been Ponche here. Yellow's already out.
I believe it was involving Esteban.
Oh, we got... oh, that's Sam Moyle. Again. So looking at this from the onboard of Sam Moyle, going side by side with Manuel Gomez Esteban out of turn 2, slides up the track. Manuel holds his line. He does pinch Sam down a little bit, but like I said, he does hold his line. So Sam's responsibility to not hit him there, and well, paid the price for it right there, as the suspension on both ends of the track, the left and the right, are completely destroyed. So that is day done for Sam Moyle, as the yellow is out once again.
Exact same thing that happened to Taylor Mills. Sam just seemed to, just either got tight in the low line or just slightly misjudged it. I don't think there's much Esteban could really do in that case.
Of course, you're getting into those final 50 laps or so as well, so the drivers are going to be more aggressive. You are going to be leaving less space. You are going to be making more aggressive moves. So I wouldn't really, if I was Sam, I wouldn't be really surprised to see drivers be more aggressive like that, because I would certainly do it myself as well. And like I said already when we showed the replay, Sam definitely paid the price for that one. Just didn't expect Manuel to really pinch him down that much. So unfortunate end to the race for Sam.
Yeah, we might see in the replay again. I'm not sure how much Esteban came down. We know Sam definitely came up a bit, but it kind of looked like one of those things where maybe they just met in the middle. And it's a difficult thing when you're at racing, because you always feel that it's the other driver that's always coming down on you or up into you. But we'll see exactly what happened. But yeah, that's definitely Sam's race ruined. And we're going to see more of this now. We'll see late race yellows piling up.
Definitely. This is the stage of the race where, like I said, they are going to be more aggressive. But Danny, walk us through the incident right here.
So as we're looking like it's Esteban who's running the third groove. Sam is moving up from the second. Looks like, they just both meet in the middle. Both meet in the middle of the third groove. Sam gets the worst of it. Just kind of looks like they're going for the same part of the racetrack. I wouldn't be ascribing blame on either one in terms of any malintent or anything. Just looks like a slight misjudgment on both their ends, and Sam pays the price.
So going back to the front here as the caution comes out here. And like I said, we're getting into the final 50 laps of this race. So like you also mentioned, this is the stage of the race where you're going to see some more cautions. And of course, the racing that we've seen all day long so far at Michigan is going to be even more intense as the final laps are coming up. Of course, the drivers, 13 left on the lead lap at the moment, going to try to make up as many positions as possible before that checkered flag drops. And of course, if you are Jesper or Will, you're going to try to protect whatever position you have. If you can move to the front, okay, that's cool, but you certainly do not want to lose any positions from here on out.
Yeah, this is the part in the race now where you're not lifting off as much in traffic. You're not as willing to drop back a few places. You're going to start now. You're going to see the proper fights for position, especially with this caution. I don't think that fuel saving will play a massive role in terms of getting to the end of the race. So you're going to see a lot more flat-out racing from here on out.
Yeah, it should be about, what is it? It's 70 liters of a fuel tank. That's the full one. That gets you 36 laps. So of course, if it is a 55-lap stint, you need fuel for 28 laps. If you do that half, of course, if you go 36 first, then you only need fuel for 20 laps. Of course, the fuel number here is about 2.4 liters a lap. So that is right about 46, 47 liters that you need to get to the end. Of course, keeping into consideration as well that you're running in the draft, so burning a little bit more fuel perhaps if you're really going for it. Of course, if you do save fuel in the draft.
And we're seeing a few cars pitting here. That's a bit of a surprising one.
Well, it definitely does allow them to go a little bit longer in the final the second to last stint. This gives them a little bit more breathing space, I guess, for the final run. If a yellow does come out, they will be able to really capitalize on it, because like we've seen all day long, when you pit on the green, you do lose a full lap compared to the leader. So this is, in my opinion, a pretty good decision to do.
So for Nara and Cabral, the risk here, of course, is getting caught up in being the back of the pack, essentially. But for them, it's either a bet on two things. As you said, it makes that final stint a bit easier on fuel. But then also, if we have a spade of yellows, they'll cycle to the front.
Very true.
If they can save enough fuel, of course.
Like I've been saying with Trevor Greenfield on the Virtual Racing Network when we broadcasted those races together, we will just have to wait and see. So I do believe we are going back to green. No, we're just a lap away from that. So whilst we are under caution, let's quickly take another look at the sponsor slideshow here for Voppzy iRacing Paints, or as we like to call it, Voppzy iRacing Pants. So feel the
Yeah, that's the professional name for it. Voppzy iRacing pants.
definitely. So Voppzy Vilde does these iRacing paints for plenty of cars on the surface, and of course for a little bit of money as well. She does these great paints, and she also does some pictures, which just like these ones look pretty solid, and she does those for the league as well. Of course, the pictures that you see on the thumbnails are all screenshots made by Vilde. So yeah, if you want a paint done and have it showcased on the Instagram page, Voppzy lowercase iRacing, definitely contact her over there for your paints, and yeah, you guys can go from there. So that is the sponsor stuff out of the way. And of course, one lap to green, so we'll quickly take another look at the schedule. Of course, 2 races to go after, well, yesterday. Pocono Raceway on the 14th of September. We have the 7th of September off, so we have an off week. Then the final race of the season at Road America to decide the championship between Will Lyon and Jesper Urman from Indy Lions Racing and Will from SMS Racing. So if you aren't familiar with the championship standings going into this race, again, that is into this race, so not as they run right now. It is 14 points between Will Lyon and Jesper. And at the moment, Jesper will be very close to retaking that championship lead.
Yeah, especially if he gets the win. But what I would be expecting on this restart, expect Will Lyon and Matt Levine to not sit around. Especially 5th and 6th, they're both together, they can both make moves as one, if they time it right.
We'll see what happens in those final 50 laps here at Michigan. The second Triple Crown race of the season, looking from the rear wing of Thomas Christensen. The pace car about to pull off. Christensen will lead the field to green. He controls the pace from now on. And there he goes, back to racing at Michigan.
And we'll see if the SMS cars can break up the 1, 2, 3, 4 of AAR at the minute. It'll be pretty difficult to do, but we'll see how they get on. As Jesper Orman already diving for the inside.
He wants to lead, he wants that race win here tonight. Of course, that would really help him in the championship as he drafts up behind Christensen, pulls to the inside, and he will pull off the pass.
Yeah, no more sitting around.
Oh,
100%.
Oh, what's happening here?
Wonder if Jesper got loose on the inside, maybe.
It could be the case.
Or do we have another yellow?
Yes, we have another yellow. That is the case. That's why I was wondering why is everybody so far off the pace. So we got another yellow out on the track, and that is for an incident between Angel Alcañiz Ponce and Manuel Gomez Esteban. So
yeah, we'll see what happened here. Esteban and another incident.
Shots fired.
It's not his fault. Oh, okay, let's see.
Let's see from the slow-mo angle. Let's see if we can get a little wider angle from this. As
it looks like Esteban's running high. Looks like he's kind of holding his own line there. And it looks like the car at the bottom will come into him. Not sure who that is. There's 2 similar cars in the field.
That must be... Oh, Ponce is right behind, so that's already on the inside. He washes way up the track. Look at that.
Oh.
Yeah, he goes straight up the track.
And then Nara gets wiped out. Nowhere to go.
And Nara also gets taken out in that wreck. So, yeah, we got some more retirements in the race here. A very unfortunate incident between those drivers, as Nara had a great run today. Actually, he only has a little bit of front wing damage as we look at his car right here. So, he got very lucky.
He would be very lucky to get away with just front wing damage if that's the case. That would be... yeah, and looks like he's driving fine at the minute. No bent suspension or anything. So maybe another lucky escape for Tobias Nara.
And let me quickly point out to you guys. Look very closely to your screens on the right side of the front wing. It's under the halo. It's completely straight. And if you look to the left, you see a very small. It's very minimal, but there is a little bend in the front wing. So definitely a little bit of left side front wing damage for Nara. Not sure how much it will affect him. It might even help him if it's bent upwards, to give him some more downforce there, but of course it will give you more drag. But yeah, like you said, he's very lucky to get away with only front wing damage if that is the case. So field once again slowing down under caution. as we got 48 laps to go, 47 at the line. Let's see if we will see more drivers come into the pits.
No, especially, I think it makes sense to dive in.
For sure, you got 47 laps to go. Well, it will be 45 when you go green. So what drivers?
I would say beyond. If you're behind Matt Levine in 6th, I would say it's worth giving it a go. Never mind, entire lead pack's coming in.
It does seem so, yeah. But one thing I was going to mention as well, like if you're at the complete back of the pack, for example, Tobias Narrow with damage, or Manuel Gomez Esteban also with damage, what you could also do is take tires on this stop and then come in with 1 lap to green, top off on fuel, chuck it in map 5 or even map 8, just ride it out, go maximum fuel save and try to make those 45 laps to go the distance. It's difficult, but it's possible.
Especially if you have a teammate. Remember in real life IndyCar, Alexander Rossi was able to win the 2016 Indy 500 because he had Ryan Hunter-Reay, who was laps down, just dragging him along. He basically did that, but in real life, just clutch and coast, the iconic call, and just off the throttle. So it can definitely work if you have a partner with you who can work with you, either is laps down or is on the same strategy. We could see it happen. But another yellow completely gets rid of that, though.
Exactly, and we won't know until we may or may not see one of those other yellows. So we'll just have to assume that we're going to be green to the end here. As Manuel Gomez Esteban is currently in 4th. Did he get away with that? Turns out he did. Might have got some damage on the rear, but really doesn't look that bad, to be honest.
I'm actually shocked if he's got away with that's pretty impressive if he has.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a soft touch as well. He really got rammed there out of turn 2. So amazing that he is still able to keep going, but we won't know until we go back to green.
Looks like he's ceding some positions though, so we'll see what's going on.
Yeah, he might be dropped to the end by the admins there for that incident, even though I do not see directly how that could be his fault there.
It might just be an iRacing thing, maybe giving him a thing to go to the back as well.
It could be the case as well. That he might have entered the closed pits. That could be the case too.
That might be it. Yeah. If he pitted to fixed damage as soon as the incident happened, it would have been a closed pit penalty. You're right. Good call.
So 45 laps to go at the line. We got Matsinger drivers in 1st and 2nd. Then we got Indy Alliance Racing in 3rd and 4th. Then we got SMS Racing with Will Lyon in 5th. Jesper Urman for Indy Alliance in 6th. And so is Colin Nassen in 7th. Then we got Levine for SMS. Gabriel for Team Watson Racing. Heredia for Team Kabuto, I believe it's called. In that green car. Of course, Kabuto is a satellite team of Matsinger Racing. So that's the top 10. We got Manuel Gomez Esteban for Matsinger in 11th. He was involved in that incident, and so was Tobias Nara. Let's see if he has taken repairs, and he has. So he has a fresh front wing on the car to go at it again. We got Carlos Espada in 13th, and then we got Ponche Moyle Mills, Dinsdale, Chauffeur Klessens, and Robinson all in the pits, and we also got you in the pits.
Hello. And this restart's going to be interesting. Flaquer and Garcia have been in the back all day, so we'll see how things sort themselves out in this restart as they come to the green.
Alright, pace car is off. Field in control of Flaquer and Garcia in 1st and 2nd, and we are back racing at Michigan. Quickly going back to your point, indeed, we haven't seen these drivers at the front, so we don't know, and they don't know, the right tools to run at the front. Perhaps they might be set up too loose going into turn 1, so we'll have to...
They're already 3-way behind them on the restart. Yes. They were 3-way going into one at least, and they still are.
That is Gabriel on the inside, Nassen in the middle, David on the high side there, getting by both of them. As Will gets by Jesper Urman into 4th place.
So there we go, good restart for Will Lyon.
As it stands.
And now that has kind of turned things around. The IAR kind of holding this race and on the top 5 has changed. As we see, Matt Levine's in the mix there as well with them.
He's
just slotting in behind. Yeah, but this is not the same as it was even just before this last yellow.
Definitely the points taking a little shake-up right now as we go back to the front. It is still Flaker and Garcia out in the lead. Those two working together right now, trying to give the dirty air to Christensen in third. As we will slowly scroll back through the field here to see any action going on, as Will and Ehrman going at it.
What I would have betted is that Christensen and Ehrman on that restart would have wanted to fly past Flaker and Garcia. But now, if you're wanting to go past them, you're going to bring Will Lyon with you.
Hey Danny, I just remembered something. Remember Iowa a few weeks ago, the second race of the season with Jesper Ehrman winning there? He did 80 laps on the fuel tank in that race. I guess it's safe to call him the Scott Dixon of the PMRL in being the master of saving fuel. It could be something that Jesper might be considering. Just riding behind Will, save as much fuel as you possibly can, just lifting off insane amounts. And you could go those 45 laps.
Yeah, you definitely could, but it just depends again. Does Will Lyon want to play that game? We'll see if he wants to save fuel or if he wants to try and start pressuring Christensen ahead, maybe trying to get up with the front two as well. At the minute they're slotting in, we'll see how things fall out.
Just looking through the field here, but not much really going on. So I guess it's time for a little through the field with 40 laps to go, sorry. So we'll start with Christian Lopez Flaker. Started up in, well, down in 9th, I should say. He's now up in the 1st. Then we got teammate Jabarilla Garcia, also for Metzinger, up into 2nd, up 10 spots from 12th on the grid. So a great job by those two drivers. Of course, they are slightly off sequence on the strategy as well. Then we got Thomas Christensen, who has lost a spot. He started on the front row down in 3rd. Will Lyon from the pole to 4th. Championship leader as well, by the way. Jesper Ehrman from 8th up into 5th. Then we got Turner, who hasn't lost or gained anything. Then we have Cesar Gabriel, who has been running at the front all day long. And had a few heart attacks in this race today, but he is still in the top 7. Currently working on Matthew Turner. Then we got Naslund down 3 into 8, down into 8th. Levine up 8 spots. Gomez Esteban up 10 as well into 10th, so that's the top 10. Then we got Nara, who has been running at the front as well for a large portion of this race, down into 11th after contact there, which caused the yellow. Only got some small front wing damage, but certainly seems to be off the pace right now, so perhaps a little bit more than just the front wing damage on his car. As we got,
it could be, there's one thing in iRacing, could be underfloor damage, could be something like that is pretty prevalent. You don't normally actually visually see it, but that would be my guess as to why Nara is a bit limited in terms of speed. Garcia takes to the front, changing the lead.
And I did take a quick peek before we went on air about the lead changes in this race. I won't say the exact number, but it's between 25 and 30, so it's pretty competitive, this race.
And again, interesting to see the kind of limitless holding pattern that the guys behind are more than happy to let the Team Mazinger guys kind of run out front and look, give them all that slipstream.
They should just say the Team Mazepin cars.
Mazinger. It's difficult to say. I didn't say Mazepin though. Okay.
I'm just joking with you, man. All right, so battle for the lead, pretty quiet right now. And I think this goes back to that fuel strategy, so we'll keep bringing that up because we don't have anything else to talk about right now. And of course, we got 2 weeks, or a week and a half basically, until we go back to Pocono, another speedway like this. Well, similar anyway, with speed-wise. 230 mile per hour lap speeds around that place, and of course the dirty air going to be interesting there as well. You got turn 1, which is modeled after Trenton Speedway. Then we got turn 2 at Pocono, modeled after Indianapolis, and then turn 3 modeled after Milwaukee. Very flat corner, where sometimes it's better to run the high line, or if you are an IndyCar Open Series god, you can actually run the curb on the inside there. But we'll have to wait and see how many drivers are able to do that next week, and then we got Road America to cap off the season here for season number 4. Season 5 plans. Stay tuned. Hopefully Jessica has got something to announce soon. I do have a little sneak peek.
Yeah, I mean, of course we are moving to Project Cars 3 before season 5.
We are not. We are not. I'm sure the SMS drivers will be very glad to see that move, but we are not, unfortunately.
I got a nondescript amount of money in my bank account to say that at least once during the broadcast. So,
did they PayPal you yet?
hey, look, all I know is I'm making money out of this. I'm not complaining.
That's all that matters, right?
Exactly. Who needs integrity and fairness when you have money?
Exactly. Money can buy you everything.
Money can buy me integrity. Thank you very much.
That's a very good one as well. But I was gonna say something and then I forgot what I was gonna say. So that's great.
Yeah, I was the one who brought up Project Cars 3, if I'm being honest. But again, I think we're just waiting to see maybe the last 20 laps especially kind of being let loose. Who's going to be the first one in this pack to kind of give it a go, have a go at the front two cars? Probably Christensen, looking a bit more aggressive now at least. And yeah, you can maybe even take this as similar to something you'll see in the Tour de France. Who's going to be the driver who decides, okay, enough of this riding around, I want to move forward and to the front. I think we're going to see that soon, as the Imagineer cars attempting a swap over. We'll see if they're successful, and we'll keep 1-2, which they will.
Only 11 cars on the lead lap, by the way. Espada's gone down 1 lap, and then from 30th on to the back, everybody's out of the race. So, very high attrition in this race. Of course, that's to be expected of a pack race like this at Michigan. But still, though, despite all the retirements, I do have to admit, the racing has been very clean so far.
Yeah, in the incidents we've seen, it mostly been kind of single car incidents, or only one car really being badly affected by it. So it's been good to see.
Thankfully, we didn't see anything like the Daytona NASCAR race last weekend.
No. Well, look, if iRacing doesn't have rain, it can't rain on the track.
Imagine doing IndyCar over racing in the rain. Ooh, that's tricky.
That's something you can do in Project Cars 2. Did you know that?
I do know that, yes. Buy Project Cars 2, everybody. Of course, we can't do interviews today because we are not broadcasting this live. We would have loved to do that. We didn't do them the last race as well. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But we got the SMS Racing shoutout in already for Ian Bell and Project Cars and Project Cars 3, the entire franchise. Of course, Project Cars going away from Steam. So only a few more days, I believe, that you have in which you can buy the game before it goes out of the Steam store.
Which means you should buy it immediately.
Oh, did somebody hit the wall? I think I heard something.
We'll see.
Anything.
Maybe somebody just brushed the wall in the back of the pack and got away with it.
I am seeing Nara drop back, so it might have been him again. I'm not gonna point figures just yet, but so far nobody really dropping back, so I assume it was a little bit of net contact with the wall as Flaker and Garcia once again swapping around at
the entire top 10 within 1.4 seconds. So this is going to be a massive pack run to the end.
And of course we still got one more stop to go for the majority of these drivers, and Jesper Uhrmann losing a spot to Gabriel for just a moment. Jesper might be one of the drivers that is saving fuel to try and go do that on no more stops, which is going to be very difficult to do. But like I already mentioned, Iowa a few weeks ago, Jesper won that race, did 80 laps on a fuel tank. So if one driver can save fuel, it's him.
I definitely think it's possible, but just by the kind of body language of Lyon and Orman kind of still sitting back, we have 25 to go. I would bet that they at least think they have a good chance of going to the finish.
Of course, if you pit under green, you lose a full lap. So you can really practically run the last 2 laps at half speed, and you can still end up in front of the cars that pitted. So it's a very possible strategy to do.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think one thing we can say, Garcia and Flecker, who have been swapping the lead, if there's 2 cars that can't do it, probably them. As it's just not optimal to be in that situation at this point in the race.
I think everybody except for Lyon and Uhrmann do not have a single chance of making it to the end. I think it's just those 2 right now.
Well, look, I think Christensen could be in with a pretty good chance as well. He's been right up at the back of Garcia and Flecker. He's been maybe just about a tenth of a second away. So he is sticking with that.
6-7 seconds.
Yeah, and we'll see how things could flesh out as well. We'll see. We could have another caution. Who knows what's going to happen? 25 laps to go.
Jessica just leaked something of my Snapchat on the PMRL Discord. I do not remember what I said to Jessica. Yeah. When I missed the race, I decided to just have a fun night and had a few drinks, so I don't remember what I said anymore.
Yeah, and I've had a big lag for like the last lap, so I don't know what you said either.
Oh, did my internet drop out for a second there?
No, I think it was mine. If we're placing bets, it was mine.
Well, I do see on my Streamlabs right now it's reconnecting still. Is it back again? Yes, it's back. Okay, cool. So, sorry about the little drop-off, I guess you could call it. We have 25 laps to go at Michigan. I'm not sure how much you guys have missed. I hope it wasn't too much, but yeah, within 25 laps to go, 23 right now. That's Jalperilla Garcia, Christian Flaker still out in the lead. Thomas Christensen in third. Will Lyon looking to get by into that third spot. Definitely gaining ground on the 53. So 2 of Ehrman closing up on Will 2.
Yeah, and a little bit of separation in the pack back to Cesar Cabral and Turner and the like back there as well. So looks like the front 5 a little bit of a gap at the minute at least. That can all disappear very quickly indeed.
I wonder how long it's going to take these drivers to come back into the pits for their final stop.
For Garcia and Flaquer, if it's a case where a caution does come out, I mean, they could really benefit if everyone else also has to come into the pits. This is where this strategy really can play out if you get lucky with the yellows.
Well, of course, we've seen some yellows where Garcia and Flakers did that. They last pitted on lap 65 and 67 respectively. That is about 40 laps ago right now. We are currently on lap 104. And, well, they pitted 39 laps ago. So they're going to do 40 laps on this stint. And that goes back to my point. It is very possible to do 45 laps. So I think the more laps that Garcia and Flaker can do, the more likely it's going to be that Will Lyon and Ehrman are aiming to do those final 45 laps without stopping again.
Yeah, it's looking, as the laps continue to tick on, it looks more and more likely that we'll see Will Lyon and Jesper Oren pull off the fuel strategy. It just depends how many more will be able to do so.
Top speed last time around, by the way, for the front runners. Christian Flaker, 383 kilometers per hour. And so is Jesper Ehrman that time by, going into turn 1. So very high speeds here at Michigan.
And that isn't even Oren going flat out. That's probably the massive lift on the straightaway coming into turn 1 and a massive lift here coming into turn 4. So these speeds are only going to ramp up, especially if it's able to run flat out, as now we're seeing the Mazinger cars starting to struggle. Garcia definitely hitting pit lane now, as is Flaquer. So here we go. Lyon, Orman, Christensen, Cabral getting a big run.
Look at this hip check. They're all trying to save fuel.
And look at this up the inside.
Yes, Levine going to the front.
He passed with 6 cars in one corner. And the Orman responded to the inside. They're going to be 3 wide down the back. Are they? No, just about.
Hey,
Matthew Levine, the opportunism.
We were wondering if these guys were saving fuel to go to the end without stopping again. I think this confirms it for 100,000%. But Levine, yes, like you said, with the epic move, getting by like 6 cars there on the front stretch as he gets a little bit loose out of turn 4. Ehrman up into second, Will still in third. And they are racing for track position right now. So I'm not sure if this is a sign that they're going to pit. They have to pit or not. Or if they're good to go to the end.
I'll tell you, a part of that too, though, is Levine saw the opportunity. He saw the chance. Everyone else back up. That's a very smart move. If ever also he's now forcing everybody else to use a bit more fuel. Maybe Levine's been dropping back. Has Levine been saving a bit more than everybody else?
Look at this. It is still Levine out in the lead, but Cabral getting so close to Ehrman on the high side there as we go 3 wide again. That is.
That's the Mazinger cars coming through. They don't have to save going to the end. That's the difference going flat out. They're just flying through the pack.
Yes, Flaker back to the lead of this pack at least. He's not actually in the lead, but Garcia trying to make his way through this pack as well as he goes to the... Look at him fly by. Look what fresh tires can do for you at the end of the stint for those drivers.
Fresh tires and flat out, as Cabral has also taken the lead here from Orman momentarily at least. I think that's the first time he's actually finally made it to the lead today. We'll see how long it lasts. Orman gets a run and he will stay behind him. He's definitely saving fuel. Oh, Cabral Wadley inside.
Wait, I know exactly what happened to Caesar. So, going down the front stretch, like I already said twice or 3 times in this race, the banking on the low side of the track, the low lane, the first lane up from the white line, is lower banked than the rest of the track, and that is the case on the front stretch as well. So when you get down to the inside line on the front stretch, the car gets really loose, despite going in a quote-unquote straight line, because you're always turning left here. But when you get to the right, where the Massimo car right there is, the car gets really loose, and I think that's what happened to Gabriel, where he lost ground as Naslund there.
Oof. And now Jesper Orman's in the one place he doesn't want to be or need to be. And now Levine's sitting behind. Christiansen's going to have to try and get involved to split up the SMS cars, which he does. That's a good move from Christiansen on behalf of his teammate. Because the last thing that Orman needs is he'll want to try and drop back in behind Levine, in behind the likes of him and, well, Lyon to save fuel, but he can't. Okay. Maybe the lap car might save him here, though.
The entire top 8 pitted on lap 78. Flaker pitted on, Nara pitted on lap 79. So the top 7 on 78.
If they're lifting this hard, they think they can get to the end. That's what that tells me. There's no hesitation about it.
Well, why don't we go on board with Will Lyon and listen for just a lap with the engine sounds to see how much he's really lifting off.
And you see him even running in 5th gear as compared to we saw Dinsdale running the middle of 6th earlier on. So definitely carrying a bit lower speed, and he's keeping it in 5th.
Not saving as much as I thought he would. Maybe he's already saved enough.
Yeah. See, this could be it as well. And this is where having Matt Levine in second, being able to push Orman a little bit further will help that as well. Oh, Orman washed up.
Yes, behind that left car of, I believe that's Flaker, just on the edge of the lead lap. And actually, never mind, it is Garcia.
And it's strange that Flaquer is not kind of staying back to give Garcia a bit of a tow, even though they're teammates. You'd expect maybe with the fresh tyres, if those two got a bit of drafting going, they could maybe pull away from this lot who's fuel saving at least a bit, but not the case, it seems. Well, and that's a lifeline for Jesper Orman at the minute. That's the only thing that's keeping him all right with being in P1 at the minute, which it feels so strange to say. You might not want to be in P1 right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, Flaker, of course, got by the traffic a lot quicker than Garcia did. It took Garcia a good lap or 2 longer than Flaker to get through all of that traffic. So you see that in the gaps as well. The gap is 2.1 seconds between the two teammates. That is just outside of the draft window. But of course, if you're Flaker, you do not want to lift off as well, because you are on the edge of the lead lap. If a yellow does come out right now, you have the best situation. You get the track position because the guys at the front, they will for sure pit. If there's a yellow, they will pit to take tires. But if you are Flaker, you may decide to stay out and take the track position, because there's only 9 laps to go right now. If we go green again, you'll be with 5 laps to go. So in those 5 laps, I don't think the old tires really matter that much, because you're going flat out anyway. Yeah,
but and important to note as well, once we get below 5 to go, if there's a yellow, that's it. We will not be going back green again if the iRacing rules are maintained as it normally is.
Very good point too, yes. So Tobias Nara now in. He cannot make it on the field with 9 to go. Splash and go for him.
Now the question is, how many more cars will we see coming in? I think Nara was even topped up, I think, at that last stop. Just shows how much not having the draft affects your fuel mileage. But for the likes of Orman, Levine and Lyon to go a full 8-9 laps longer than him would be impressive.
Then again, though, we've seen Nara move to the front all day long, so it wouldn't surprise me if he just didn't know he could make it on the field and just went for it. And of course, Jesper and Will and the front runners, of course, all committed to that early.
I think for Nara, the issue was just he didn't have the car to keep up. It looked like it was damaged, and this is playing perfectly for Jesper Orman, having the lap car of Garcia.
I almost forgot about that, yes, where Nara hit or had contact earlier on in the race. I completely forgot about that, so his car must be a little damaged, which of course will kind of force him to drive at a higher fuel number, trying to keep up with the drivers up in front. But like you said, it's great for Urman that he has a lap car up in front, and you made a comparison earlier in the race to the Indy 500 in 2016. This is very much the same thing happening right now, except it's not two teammates working together, it's somebody from a completely different team.
Yeah, this is just luck of the draw, because of course Garcia isn't going to want to let Orman go. He wants to stay in the lead lap and be scored as such. If we have a massive pile up on the last lap, you can get in several positions. So Garcia, he's good on fuel as well, so he has no reason to pull over, and it just so happens to help out Jesper Orman a whole bunch. But we'll see what SMS have as we get to 5 to go. Do SMS Racing have anything up their sleeves to kind of interrupt this, to get in the middle of the two, of Garcia and Orman, to see if they can cause a bit of separation, a bit of chaos?
You know, here's what I would do if I was in Garcia's situation right now. Of course, you have 5 laps to go, like you already mentioned. If there's a yellow right now, you're not going back to green. Why would you sit there in front of Jesper? Why don't you just drop back? Hell, even just slow down as much as forcing Jesper to go by, go to the apron or whatever. Just force the drivers behind you to go by, so you don't give them the draft anymore, which could force them into making a high fuel number.
I think what I would say, if you can hear me, is if you're a Garcia, if 3 or 4 of these cars collide in the last lap, you're picking up their position as well, you know? So, to me, it makes sense to stay in the lead lap, and it's good to see drivers racing too, you know? I don't want to see too much sportsmanship, do we?
That's true. I was just thinking about
and
fuel.
Just a note, Levine and Lyon have really dropped off Orman, 1.4 seconds. What's happened? Are they having to save this much more? Has Jesper Orman nailed this?
I think he has, as Christensen now splitting the middle between the SMS cars, getting by Will, and now going to set up Levine as well, as we have 3 laps to go, 6 miles, less than 6 miles to go in fact.
And Jesper Orman's going to break the draft. Jesper Orman's going to be gone. That's huge for the championship.
Yes, as we've got 2 laps to go, it is Indy Alliance Racing in first and second, Urman out in the lead, Christensen up in second, Levine still in third. He's going to try to get by Christensen again, but it wouldn't surprise me if at the end of this race Levine moves over for Will to kind of give him those extra 2 or 3 points in the championship that he needs.
And Christensen now is going to be racing as hard as he can. He's the rear gunner for Orman to try and keep as many points as he can for him in the championship over Will Lyon. And of course, we don't know if anybody's really good to go. Orman, he's pushed this much. Is he that good? Naslund now to the inside.
Yes, can Naslund take away points from Will Lyon as we have smoke down the front stretch? White flag is out for Jesper Urman as this battle for position is still going on. Let's try to bring up the track map here very quickly to see where Jesper is. There he is, going out of turn 2. We're going to see now
Levine having a look at the outside. Will Lyon's the highest driver coming through 1 and 2. Can anybody get a huge run? They'll snake down the backstretch. And look at that, right to the bottom. Pulling out Matt Levine to the outside.
And we're going to go to the leader first. Jesper Urman coming out of turn 4. He nails the fuel strategy once again. He will go to victory lane at Michigan. But we have to wait and see who finishes second. It is Christensen in front of Will Lyon by 1,000th of a second across the line.
Whoa!
Matthew Turner and Colin Naslund in the mix as well to round off the top 5. And Levine slips all the way to 6th. And Cabral...
I wonder if Levine ran out of fuel. You're 7 tenths off at the end there. I wonder if Levine just ran out of fuel, because he was side by side with Christensen going into the final corner. And it almost worked to give Will Lyon P2.
P3. But Cabral...
It would have been P2 if Lyon could have passed Christensen. It was just 1,000th of a second.
Oh yeah, that's correct. Sorry, I wasn't really following. I was looking at the gap between those 2 drivers. But yeah, Turner only 51 thousandths behind Will as well, by the way. So could have almost taken away a few more points from Will to help Jesper. But Cabral finishes in 7th, up 4 spots. And the biggest mover in the race, by the way, Matthew Levine, who ran out of fuel across the line, we assume, finishes in 6th.
And he did all he could. He was racing Christensen as hard as he could, and if he did run himself out of fuel, that is the the ultimate teammate play. He was not backing off on that last lap until he had to. But yeah, Christensen, I think that's job done for AAR, to escape with a 1-2. Orman takes the win. You're costing Will Lyon further points in the championship. He finishes third. That's a pretty good result for them coming into the final 2 races now.
Exactly. 2 races to go. As we look at the race results here from the Michigan 250, the second Triple Crown race of the season. After this one, we go to Pocono, the final one of the season. But Jesper Ullmann goes to victory lane. He needed that win to keep him in the championship hunt. Thomas Christensen finishes second for Indy Alliance Racing as well, so in Indy Alliance Racing 1-2. Will Lyon for SMS finishes third. Pretty solid finish for him as well, considering his overall experience, or lack of that. Matthew Turner fourth, Colin Nassut fifth, Matthew Levine, Cecil Gabriel, Christian Flaker, John Riley Garcia, Manuel Gomez, Esteban round off the top 10 for Team Matsinger. Good finish, by the way, for the Matsinger drivers. Then we've got Tobias Nara, Carlos Espada, Safia Heredia, Angel Ponce, Sam Moyle, Taylor Mills, Daniel Dinsdale, Pablo Chauffeur, as we stroll through the rest of the field. Thomas Klessens, Brennan Robertson, and, Jessica and Danny on the results as well. But of course,
was robbed of P21. Robbed.
Exactly. So that's going to wrap it up here from us for the Michigan 250. We will be back in 2 weeks. We'll have to wait and see if we can work out a deal with Danny. Perhaps he can join us again 2 weeks from now. But we'll have to wait and see. For now, though,
it just depends. If you pay me in Project Cars 2 codes, you got me.
I can give you my Steam login if you want as well. I don't care.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
Anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching and sticking with us, even through the technical difficulties we had today. Hopefully the broadcast next week will be better, of course. We couldn't do this live yesterday due to logistical issues, so we did it today on a replay file. But next week, we will be 2 weeks from now, we will be back to normal as we go to the Pocono Raceway for round 7 of the season. And then a week after that, Road America to crown a champion in the Prime Meridian Racing League. So for now, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Danny, for joining me tonight. And we will see you all 2 weeks from now at Pocono Raceway.